Reliable, affordable, and sustainable power means securing a brighter future for the Philippines. A future-proof energy plan starts with a diverse portfolio of sources, and the Philippines has its eyes set on building a cleaner, stronger, and affordable energy mix. So what does this balanced energy mix look like, and how do we effectively and equitably transition to this? We collaborate with industry experts to brainstorm the future of our country's energy foundations. I'm your moderator, Ruthie Owen, and welcome to another edition in our Powering Up series in partnership with Aboitiz Power. This is episode 1, reviewing the Philippines' energy portfolio. Let me introduce our panel of experts. First, we have Undersecretary Mylene Capungcol of the Department of Energy. Hello, Yusek May.
Hello, how are you?
Second, we have Professor Wally Del Mundo, an Associate Dean of the College of Engineering at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Welcome, Prof. Wally. Welcome back.
Hi.
So last but not the least, we have Fortunato Atoy Lainez, President and CEO of the National Transmission Corporation. Hello, welcome, Atoy.
Salamat.
Okay, so let's dive in. So for Yusek May and President Atoy, where are we in the Philippine Energy Plan? Diba? Yung PEP na tinatawag natin. Are we poised to achieve a renewable energy share of 35% in 2030 and surpass 50% by 2040? Kaya ba natin yan?
Yeah, maraming salamat, Ms. Ruth. The Department of Energy is committed in meeting its energy targets under the Philippine Energy Plan. So, as we all know, we are targeting na dapat 35% of the renewable energy share in the power generation will be met by 2030 and then increase it to 40% by 2040 and increase further to 50% and beyond by 2050. That's the reference scenario. That's tinatawag nating baseline. And then we have what we call the clean energy scenario 1, which involve coal power repurposing. So, ibig sabihin, part of our commitment to have achieve a clean and sustainable energy is i-transition natin yung mga more fossil or dirtier technology into more cleaner and sustainable like renewable energy and other indigenous resources. So, we have coal repurposing, and then we will be introducing by 2032 around 1,200 megawatt of nuclear power plant. And then, i-increase pa natin yan, i-double by 2035. And then, 4,800 again by 2050. And one of the good things that is in the Clean Energy 1 is the 19 gigawatt offshore wind project. So, sa Clean Energy scenario number 2, from 19 megawatt offshore wind project, we are targeting 50 gigawatt or 50,000 megawatt of offshore wind. So ito yung bagong technology na wino-work out ngayon.
Yusek May, pag sinabi mo offshore wind, ano ba yan? Ito yung mga windmills na nasa dagat? Ano?
Yes, nasa gitna ng dagat, pwedeng nandun sa pinakamalalim na parte or nandito sa medyo mas mababaw na parte. So ang tawag natin dyan, fixed bottom, pagka medyo malapit siya sa shoreline, and then pagka-floating, if it's 50 meters beyond yung depth nung water.
Okay. And of course, President Atoy, how does the Transco support the goal of the DOE? Infrastructure kayo, di ba?
Tama. Kaya kami sa Transco, we are in close coordination with DOE and at the same time also sa National Grid Corporation of the Philippines para nga i-review yung Transmission Development Plan na ma-identify naman ng TDP kung ano yung mga power plants na papasok na binanggit nga ni Yusek May na renewable energy facilities, kung saan ito pupwesto, nire-review namin yung capacity ng mga transmission lines, whether sufficient or kung kulang naman, kailangan magtayo ng ibang transmission lines. Ang DOE kasi nagtayo rin ng tinatawag na Smart and Green Grid Plan of which ang main purpose kasi nito, i-review yung mga transmission facilities required para nga ma-accommodate yung mga renewable energy facilities para ma-achieve yung target ng DOE na 35% by 2030 and 50% by 2040.
Paano yung relationship ng Transco with NGCP as far as infrastructure is concerned? Kasi syempre, kung gusto natin magtayo ng offshore wind or solar farm, etc., kailangan natin ng infrastructure para itayo, i-connect.
Tama.
Diba?
Basically, ang NGCP kasi meron silang tinatawag na ginagawa na Transmission Development Plan. At itong Transmission Development Plan na ito, we are mandated by the Department of Energy para i-review ito. Upon submission naman sa DOE, tinitingnan namin kung tama nga ba itong plano nila at kung may nakita kami na depekto, sasabihin namin sa NGCP at saka sa DOE, ito ang mga kulang na transmission facilities na kailangang itayo, meron kasi mga projects na delay, kumbaga sa from the time na it will be needed, much later yung nandoon sa nakalagay or naka-specify doon sa Transmission Development Plan. Kaya sinasabi namin na dapat itong mga projects na ito ay i-accelerate. Kaya nga doon sa SGGP or yung Smart and Green Grid Plan, ang main purpose noon i-review yung transmission requirements nitong mga renewable energy. And from there, in fact, nasa sa final stage na yung project na ito. At with that, ma-identify ano yung mga kailangan na facilities na hindi naman na-identify dun sa Transmission Development Plan.
Okay. So, siguro kay Prof. Wally, anong do you want to comment on Yusek Mai and President Atoy's statement on the goal?
Yung goal, I think tama, no? O tsaka yung plano, nakalatag naman, maayos. Yung lang nakikita kong pwedeng maging obstacle issues ay implementation. Well, for one, yung ating mga renewable energy, umabot na sa sobrang bilis ng development, ang daling mag-construct. Even solar, for example, 1 year, tapos na. On the other hand, pag nag-i-implement ka ng transmission project, assuming nando sa plano, 10 years yun. So, what's the problem? Ang number one na problema ay right of way. Kasi yung proseso, and I think this is the defect of the setup, current setup. Yung tinatanong mo kanina, relation ng Transco at saka ng NGCP. I think the defect of the setup now is that hindi responsive yung setup doon sa kailangan mo ng 10 years sa development and yet meron kang private concessionaire na merong discrete number of years of contract with the government. So, ang view ko dito ay pwede nating solving yan by kung meron ng plan, klaro na kung saan ang nandun ang mga renewable energy na kailangang i-connect in the future.
There's a better way of dealing with that. So, Yusek Mai, so what is the Green Energy Auction Program of the Department of Energy and how is it helping the growth of renewable energy in our energy mix? Ano ba yung GIAP na yan?
Yeah, yung GIAP or yung tinatawag natin na Green Energy Auction Program, ito ay initiated by the government. If you recall, meron tayong tinatawag noon na feed-in tariff na ang DOE nag-set ng installation target around 1,400. So that is what we call a kick-off, parang start-up siya of developing more renewable energy in the country. So nung na-meet na yon, nakita ng DOE na medyo bumaba na yung cost ng development of this renewable energy. Kasi if you recall, yung feed-in tariff nun umaabot ng 16 pesos per kilowatt hour, no? For solar alone. And then, andyan yung wind, no? So ngayon, bumaba na.
Magkano na?
Nasa 4 pesos. Yung iba may mga offer ng 350.
Per kilowatt hour,
Oo,
no?
kaya ang inadapt ngayon ng Department of Energy ay yung Green Energy Auction Program. Nakaka-4 na runs na tayo ngayon. at ang total capacity is about 25.5. Of course, may mga challenges tayo.
25.5
Gigawatt. Oo. Of course, may mga challenges tayo. But si DOE, together with the stakeholders and even the RE developers, are really trying to resolve all these issues. Like na-mention kanina ni Sir Wally na meron issue on the right-of-way, on transmission line availability. So, ma-mention na rin natin siguro na private sector ito. Talaga because of the EPIRA and the RE law, talagang private sector yung ina-encourage natin na magtayo. Kaya we are helping much of this private investor na ma-pursue nila yung project. Again, may mga bago tayong technologies under the green energy auction. So, tapos na yung 4 natin. Meron tayong in-introduce na floating solar. May mga rooftop. Of course, meron tayong tinatawag na integrated RE and energy storage system. Ito yung may mga battery. Ang susunod na ipapa-auction ng Department of Energy is what we call offshore wind project. Ito yung fixed bottom, around 3.3 gigawatt. At ang susunod doon is yung pioneering waste to energy. Alam naman natin na kapag bumagyo, kalat-kalat yung basura. No? So that would help solid waste management. At the same time, you make use of the useful or electricity that can be produced from that waste, no? Solid waste management. So yan ang inaaral at ginagawa natin. And siguro to add up, para maging mas successful yung ating green energy auction, ang DOE ay recently nag-conduct ng public consultation na yung mga RE developers or yung nagtatayo ng mga planta ay pwede na nilang i-advance yung construction ng interconnection.
Prof. Wally, no? So while hydroelectric and geothermal account for a significant portion of the country's renewable capacity, we have seen the growth of solar power in the past few years. So the JF4, conducted by the Department of Energy, encourage its amplification. So along with more onshore wind projects, what are the enablers that allowed solar power and wind's growth in our energy mix? So si Prof. Wally, and maybe you both can add to that.
I think yun nga, no? Infrastructure, kanina na-mention na natin, talagang hindi pwedeng hindi advance yung network. In other words, hindi na pwede yung kailangan magsabi mo na yung private sector na gusto namin, tsaka pa lang paplanuhin. Kailangan proactive. Kasi yung interconnection itself, hindi naman kailangan isama yun doon sa transmission development plan. Ang dapat malinaw doon sa TDP ay yung nasa ng connection point so that if I am the developer, hindi na ako manghuhula. Kasi, ayun, klaro, approved na ng DOE yung network, nandun pala yung mga connection points. So, yun yung unang tingin kong importanteng enabler na binabanggit mo, Ruth, kanina. Of course, pangalawa, yung sinasabi ko nga na mukhang doon sa network development, kasi pwedeng na-identify node. Pero yung nasabi ko, yung network itself na kukonektahan, yun kailangan ng right of way. Kaya ang suggestion ko for Transco is that and this might require the policy of the Department of Energy, na ito ang gagawin ni Transco, na pag in-approve na ni DOE yung TDP, o Transco, lahat ng na-identify dyan na future transmission projects, network, no? Hindi interconnection, meaning yung part ng grid, to ensure that ma-accommodate ng grid yung mga renewable energy, ay bilhan mo na ng right of way. Ibig sabihin, huwag nating intayin na kung kailan dadating yung power plant, renewable energy plant, doon pa lang tayo hahanap ng right of way. I-advance mo, pag nagplano, minimum, alam mo na dapat ang requirement mo 10 years from now, and then since na-approve ng DOE ngayon yan, Transco, bilhin mo na yung right of way ng mga project na yan. Kasi ihanda mo yan 5 years from now, because it takes around 5 years para ma-settle ang right of way.
So Atoy, Bakit hindi natin ginagawa yan?
Sa ngayon kasi, under the concession agreement, yung mga bagong linya kasi ay yung concessionaire ang mag-acquire ng right of way.
Yan.
So in that case, either one, the DOE will issue a new policy
Yes.
na to accommodate nga yung sinasabi ni Prof. Wally na Transco na ang mag-acquire ng right of way ahead of time. Once na malinaw na doon sa transmission development plan.
Oh.
So yun yung challenge diyan. Or pagdating naman doon sa sa concession agreement na kailangang i-renew na by 2035, isasama na siya doon na henceforth yung acquisition ng bagong right of way, Transco na ang bahala according to the transmission development plan.
Okay.
Now, I also would like to add doon sa sinabi ni Prof. Wally na isang pabilis din ng development dyan is yung because of the development in technology, mabilis bumaba yung cost ng solar panels tsaka yung mga inverters. So that made the construction of solar facilities very attractive.
The upcoming Green Energy Auction 5's focus is on offshore wind, sabi nyo nga, di ba? So while many believe in its upside as an abundant RE resource, many also say that it has several challenges, such as high cost, grid and port infrastructure limitations, and comes with social and environmental impacts. So we'll dive deep into this in our next episode. Make sure to tune in to our series by bookmarking the link in the caption. For now, I'm Ruthie Owen, and thank you for joining us in episode 1 of Powering Up, Future-Proofing the Philippine Energy Mix. See you in the next episode.